Hi, King Dan here. This video is called Family Fed Fiction. Hyung Jin Moon is so divisive. I'm sure you've heard this argument before. Whoever's saying it, they're usually accusing Hyung Jin Moon for splitting families or splitting communities or somehow being the direct cause of division in the overall movement, which is assumed to be just strictly family fed. But no matter how the argument is expressed, usually there's an implicit assumption or a presupposition to have unity on something other than Father's words. Alright, so Father's words, new denominations will not arise. The reason why we are having this time is because I am worried that I might leave behind affirmations that could be criticized after I leave to Spirit World. We have to make it very clear. The word Cheongseongyung is a very dreadful word. Any person, third person, regardless of how great they may be, even if they have several Nobel Prizes under their belt, nobody can touch or change the Cheongseongyung. That is why new denominations will not arise. We are preparing for that. You never know, maybe I'll announce part 2 from the spiritual world. So we said this in 2004. So this video isn't specifically about the Cheongseongyung. I made another video for that. But what it does make clear in this particular section is that why will new denominations not arise? Well, he answers that by saying it's because we all have the same textbooks, or specifically he calls out the Cheongseongyung. But wait, who changed the Cheongseongyung? Oh, right, that was family fed. Look, I'm all for different translations and interpretations based on the same book. Much like the Bible has many different translations, but they all seed and stem from and try to maintain loyalty to the original text. It's in a different language. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about translations. In this case, we're actually talking about a new Cheongseongyung being passed off and sold as the original Cheongseongyung. But that's simply not true. The new Cheongseongyung has parts removed and edited, as you can see in the other video. This whole scenario reminds me of the Garden of Eden in Genesis 3 specifically, where the snake says, "God didn't say that. Are you sure he meant it that way?" And they twist Father's words. And yet, if you really think about it, Family Fed is accusing Hyung Jin Moon for the exact action they themselves and their own demonic leadership are doing. It's crazy. Father says, any person, a third person, regardless of how great they may be, even if they have several Nobel Prizes, nobody can change the Cheongseongyung. Now, in my opinion, when he says nobody can change the Cheongseongyung, that means nobody can change the Cheongseongyung. That includes Hak Shahan, that even includes Hyung Jin Moon and every successor for the rest of human history. Father's word sets the absolute standard that we all change our life to conform to that absolute standard. Another argument you'll hear that is easily dismissed is, oh, true parents are united, and look, it will be announced from the spirit world. Yeah, part 2 may be announced from the spirit world, but we're talking about part 1 here. Quit trying to change part 1, and then pass it off as if that's part 2. It's like, wait, what? So, given the fact that the Cheongseongyung has changed, we can see that, according to Father, new denominations will probably arise. That's unfortunate, but that's on Hak Shahan.